We're here at the NRA Convention 2015, and I'm here with Mike from Galco. Mike is kind enough to talk with us today about holster selection. So, Mike, first of all, thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
And my guys and gals are interested in, like not only just for novice shooters, but for long-time shooters. Some of us have never really gotten any real information on how to select a quality holster.
Sure.
So can you walk us through that?
Absolutely. And, holster selection, it doesn't really matter whether you're a novice or you're an experienced shooter. We're all looking for the same things in terms of concealability and accessibility and speed of draw. So it doesn't matter if you've been a shooter for 6 months or for 60 years. The basic tenets of selecting the right holster for yourself are really going to be very similar, if not identical. So the first thing you want to look for in a holster is body position. Where on your body do you want to put the holster? Some people, actually the majority of American men, will carry behind their strong hip. And so you'll see an awful lot of concealment holsters are designed to put the gun behind the strong hip. Now, there's been a movement toward appendix carry, so at the front of the body, usually inside the pants, and with a little bit of what we call a rearward cant. So the butt of the gun is tilted back just a little bit, which makes it easier to draw from. A lot of people also like to use the cross draw position. It's particularly popular among older men and women because as we all age, our joints maybe don't work as well as they used to, and a lot of older folks have a little bit of trouble rotating their shoulder enough to get to a gun behind their strong hip. And it's a lot easier for them to reach across the body to draw the gun. So there's a minority of shooters who prefer that. Beyond that, of course, we can talk about niche things like an ankle holster, if you're not able to wear something around the belt line, shoulder holsters, things like that. But the majority of people do carry a gun either inside or outside the waistband, or right around their belt line. So really, that's the first thing to decide. Where do you want to carry the holster? Where on your body do you want to carry the gun? So that's important. So matching the angle of the holster up to where that position on your body is the next important thing. So if it's behind your strong hip, generally you'll want the butt tilted a little bit forward. If it's going to sit right on your hip, generally you want the gun to sit basically straight up and down. If you're going to carry in a cross draw position, generally you'll want the butt tilted backwards. So again, deciding where on your body you want to carry it is going to affect the angle of the holster. So you need to give that some thought. Another thing that's important in terms of keeping the gun stable and comfortable on your body and easy to draw from is the size of the belt slots. It's very important to match up the size of the belt slot to the width of your belt. So if you're wearing an 1.5-inch belt, you'll want to choose a holster with 1.5-inch slots or loops, and that will give you the greatest stability. And that means the gun doesn't move around when you walk, when you bend over, things like that. It doesn't hit you in the side as you walk, things like that. And also, probably most importantly, it keeps the gun in the same spot every time so that your hand can find it if you need it in an emergency. So very important to keep the belt slots and the belt width the same or as close as possible as you can make it. Very, very important. One thing I want to talk about a little bit that you don't see all that commonly discussed is what we call a combat grip. And a combat grip is basically where we cut the holster right here so that as your hand falls into position, your middle finger is the most important part here. But basically what you want is a complete firing grip on the gun in the holster. So that when you draw the gun, the same grip you have here is the same grip you have here.
Right, so you don't have to transition to another.
Right, exactly. What you don't want to be doing is when you pull the gun out, having to readjust your grip as you're trying to come up on target. Then you will not get the proper firing grip and you won't be nearly as accurate, especially with your first couple of shots, which are the most important. So always look for a gun, or a holster I should say, with the cutout here so that you can grasp it here. Some holster makers, unfortunately, either don't realize this, maybe they don't care, I don't know. But if you see leather or plastic right up where you will put your middle finger, don't buy that holster.
Okay.
The last thing I want to talk about is retention. And at Galco, what we do is we design all our holsters to pass what we call a 1G retention test.
Okay.
And basically what that means is we take the gun, put it in the holster, turn it upside down, and give it a shake. If it doesn't fall out, it passes the test. If it clunks down onto the floor, well, it failed. We've got to redesign it. So that's what we do. As you can see, both these holsters are open top holsters, and some people have some concerns about retention with an open top holster, and they prefer a thumb brake, and that's okay with us. We make many holsters with thumb brakes. However, an open top holster is faster and simpler, and faster and simpler in a self-defense item, no matter what it is really the best thing. So I personally have always carried in an open top holster. Most of the people I know who are serious use open top holsters, and as long as you're not riding an ATV, riding a horse, doing somersaults, or maybe you're in martial arts class, an open top holster is going to suit most people just fine, and it's going to provide more than adequate levels of retention. If you're doing something super active, like those things I mentioned, or maybe you're jumping out of airplanes or something, get a retention strap. But for normal day-to-day life, stuff you and I would do on an everyday basis, an open top holster works great, and again, it's fast and it's simple. So those are the 5 things I would recommend people look at when they're going through the holster selection process.
Perfect. Okay, so if you are looking for the right holster for you, you need to keep those things in mind, and that will help you kind of weed through the fog and get to the heart of it. I want to thank Mike and Galco for giving me a few minutes of their time, and I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again next time.